guys, Coach Becca here, and welcome to my ankles, knees, and hips stability and mobility workout. You'll need a chair at one point and a towel at one point today, so just a heads up there. Alright, we're going to begin with a Stork balance test. So place the instep of one leg on the thigh of the opposing leg, and I'll show you what it looks like from the side here. Really what you're going to do once you get into this kind of tree pose is roll onto your toes and try to hold that position as long as you can. So here I lift my heel and hold as long as I can. It's very challenging. So I'm just trying to make it to 10 seconds. Looks like I made it 7, okay? So let's try the other side now. This is just to identify where my imbalances are, like what side I'm a little stronger on. So there I've placed my foot on to my opposing leg. I'm lifting my heel and holding, cinching my core. Try not to be distracted by the dogs. And let's see how far I made it. Oh, 11 seconds. So it looks like I'm a little stronger on my left side. All right, I'm going to do a second trial on each leg, and I invite you to do the same with me. Usually you're a little stronger on the second round. Let's see how we look here. Again, my heel is off the floor. Once my hands come off my hips or I lose my balance, there I got 10 seconds. The time stops. So hands come off the hip, foot comes off the leg, or if you just lose your balance, time stops. All right, here I go on the left side again. Looks like I'm not quite as strong as my first round. And 8 seconds. All right, well, we're going to do that again at the end in case you didn't get a clear reading or a stopwatch. You'll get to do that at the finale of today's workout. So whatever side you got the longest balance on. So for me, that was on my left leg, 11 seconds, and on my right leg, 10 seconds. Not a huge difference there, but if you have, say, 10 seconds on one side and even 1 second on the other, that's a huge difference. So just keep note of which side was easier for you to get more time on today for later. All right, single leg balance reach. Reach on one leg towards the floor, hinging at your hip. Notice that I have a soft knee. So I'm on my right leg. My right knee is softening to allow me to get into that nice position. I'm kind of making a T pattern here. So I'm not worried about necessarily touching the ground. I'm trying to engage my diaphragm, my trunk, my core, so that my shoulders are always in line with my heel. See how I have just a nice kind of stick-like posture through my shoulders to my ankle there. Again, think of the letter T, not the letter W. Cinch your core together. Take a deep breath in as you hinge at your hip. Exhale as you stand tall, pulling the knee through and pushing your hands towards the ceiling. Very good. Let's try that same thing on the other side. Hinge at the hip, soft knee, tight core. Exhale, reach overhead, drive the knee. We are going to repeat this movement at the end of today's workout as well. So after we work on the bottom, working our way up, so the ankles, knees, hips up, both balance, flexibility, and mobility. We're going to try this movement and the Stork balance again at the end, and just see if you've improved a little bit. Maybe not in today's session, but by repeating this session, you know, even 3 times a week. It's not strenuous, so you really can do that. Your balance and your mobility should improve. Your proprioception, or your awareness of your body and space, should improve if you're consistent with this session. So it wouldn't be a bad idea to write down, you know, how you do after this workout somewhere, how long you did your Stork balance for, etc., because you'll be able to compare it. All right, ankle ABC is one of my favorites next. So stand on one leg, and I'm just going to draw the letters A, B, and C, capital letters, with my foot. We're going to do this for about 20 to 30 seconds each side. So this is good for stability on my left leg, and it's good for mobility in my right foot. I'll use this time to talk about being barefoot. I am barefoot today. I prefer that, or, you know, if you have stockinged feet, that's fine. Whenever you have shoes on, you know, you get a little bit of that false sense of security from that platform, and it might help you or hurt you with balance. So let's switch sides here, and just a reminder that if you can, unless you have some kind of orthotic injury, let's shoot for bare feet today, just to get a really nice feel for the bottom of our foot and all those muscles that go there. So again, just drawing the letters A, B, and C. Now on the left foot, balancing on my right leg. So this is nice, one of those 2-for-1. It helps develop stability on one side and mobility on the other. Focus on just nice deep breathing and cinching that core together while you do this exercise. Great for just exploring every angle that ankle joint goes. All right, grab that chair. We just have one exercise with it. So Not a huge deal. If you need to get kind of creative, you can use your couch too if you need it. But we're going to do a big toe exercise. So yes, you heard me right. We're going to work the toes a little bit here. Important for moving well. All you're going to do is roll from your heels to the balls of your feet, and then from the balls of your feet to your tiptoes. So let me show you from the side, and you can jump in with me here. Watch my feet. We're going to go up from the heels to the balls of the feet, and then I'm just kind of doing like a toe raise from there. So lift to the balls of the feet, and then use your toes to go all the way up, so you're balancing just on the pinpoint of your big toe. And you should almost feel that maybe a little in your arch, but also just kind of in the toes, because our toes are important for, you know, mobility and stability as well. There's muscles in the bottom of your feet, you know, good for the arch of your foot, building some integrity and resilience there. So this one might cause a little bit of a cramp. I usually can only do about 5 to 10 of these before I've got to give my feet and my arches a little bit of a rest. So you don't need a ton of these to work or to build strength in your big toe, but it's an important muscle for walking, balancing, hiking, running, etc. So athletes need to be careful and intentional about doing big toe strength exercises like that one. All right, ditch the chair. We're gonna head to a wall next, and I apologize, it's gonna be hard to see me on this side, but I promise the other side gets a little bit better. So again, we're really doing the same thing we just did on the chair. We're gonna split stance position, stretching the calf. So once you get into a position where you feel a calf stretch, you're good to go. And all you're going to do is roll up from your heel onto the ball of your feet, and then from the ball of your foot onto your toe. So exactly what you did in the chair, but now you're just focusing on the back leg. So up to the toe, push from the ball of your foot onto your big toe. Calf stretch, roll forward again. And you're really thinking about your big toe, pushing from your tiptoes all the way up onto your tiptoe. And you'll see it well on the other side, but again, I'll talk you through it. Get into a position where you can feel the back of your leg stretching. Roll from your heel onto your toe, and then from your toe all the way up so the toes are extended. And here you'll be able to see that back foot really well. Push onto the toe as high as you can. It's really hard to do, actually. It's a joint we don't pay much attention to. Push up onto the toe as much as you can. Roll that heel back down. So lift, and then lift again. Push. Good, and that's where you can kind of use the wall to help you a little bit. Put more of your weight on that front leg. So it's split stance, roll forward, and then push onto that big toe again. Very good. Hang in there. A super tough exercise, and just the execution of it is challenging. So just kind of work your way through it, starting with the calf or leg stretch, rolling forward. Okay, now we're going to do some hip swings. Now, if you don't have a wall nearby like I do, I'm doing 12 per side here. You can grab your chair and just use the back of your chair to put your hands on. This is just a hip mobility exercise now. Remember that, you know, both flexibility, stability, and mobility all play a part in balancing and working your way out of muscular imbalances. So switch sides here. That's our focus today, is improving your balance, coordination, proprioceptions, flexibility, mobility, all that fun stuff that necessarily doesn't, you know, it's not glamorous to work on, but it's so important for the glamour workouts, if you will. Good job on the hip swings. Up next, we're going to do tree pose. It's just like what we did at the beginning, but we don't have to roll onto the toe. It's not quite as nasty. We're going to do 60 seconds per side, so I'll worry about the time. You worry about just that deep diaphragm breathing I'm demonstrating. So deep breath in through your nose, into your belly. Exhale through your mouth. Feel your diaphragm get nice and taut. That's my trunk. That's right where my fingertips are. You can feel your core being rigid beneath that, and that's important for stability as well. Core stability does play a part in our ability to balance. So your core is an important piece of that. And perhaps that's why some of you guys struggled on that single leg reach that we did. Your core is a, you know, integral part of that. So again, take deep breaths as we round out our minute. The hands are on the hips, the instep is on the thigh, foot is flat on the floor. So Stork is just a more aggressive version of the tree, if you will. And here we're doing tree pose. It should help us get better at Stork as long as we do it intentionally. Consistency is always the kicker. You guys know that. All right, let's switch sides here. And again, let's place the instep as high as we can on the opposing thigh. Pay attention to our core here. Get our breathing under control. Wiggle the toes around. Again, that's why it's important, in my opinion, to be doing these sessions barefoot. You can really dig the toes into the ground. Feel all the muscles in the bottom of your feet. Those are going to help you with stability. It's okay to lose your balance and you know, not do this perfectly. I want you guys to focus on progress, not perfection. Each one of you guys is going to move a little differently than myself, but as long as you're doing this consistently, that's the key. You might even notice that the more active you are, the more muscular you get, or the more in shape you get, sometimes the less flexible or mobile you are, because your muscles are getting stronger and bigger. You need to be intentional about doing workouts like this as you gain strength. Otherwise, you might put yourself at a risk for injury. There's always room for workouts like this in any program. This is where you should start, and you should always be able to bring yourself back to sessions like this one. So, well done on tree pose. I know it's a long minute just focusing on breathing, so hopefully you learned something in the time duration you were working with me. So a great 2 minutes of focus there, guys. Well done. All right, here comes a hard exercise, one of my favorites though. Split position, so you just split your feet apart, shoulder width apart, roll the heels off the ground and lower down for about 15 to 20 seconds. Notice that I'm really on the balls of my feet, really on my toes. My heels are as elevated as I can get them, and I'm holding like a split lunge basic position or a split squat. And I'm just holding that to build strength in my quads and glutes, but also to work ankle mobility and stability. Being in this split position does work your balance, so well done. We're gonna do that one more time just on the other side. So switch feet, again, split lunge position, feet shoulder width apart, about just a yard from my heel to my front toe. Roll onto the toes, heels off the floor, take a deep breath, and lower down into that split lunge. Keep that heel as high off the ground as you can. You really want to put, you know, the focus on being up on your tiptoes, squeezing your core for balance, telling those quads and glutes to work hard for you, because you're doing a great job here. Hang in there, a great exercise for so many reasons. Not only the legs, but also for balance and also for mobility in the bottom half of our body. Very good, you guys. You're doing great so far. I'm going to have you guys grab a towel for our next few exercises. You can actually also use a long band if you have one, if that's all you have. I figured more people had a towel, so I'm working with a towel today. All right, straight leg, hamstring stretch position. Place that towel right around the ball of your foot, and you're just going to do some ankles pointing and flexing. So while you stretch out your hamstring, you're just going to be doing a little bit of ankle work. So just point and flex. You just need light tension on the towel, nothing too crazy. Point and flex as you stretch your hamstring. I'm all for 2 for 1, so just make sure that that knee isn't bending too much on you and that you're not really pulling on the towel too hard. You do want to allow mobility through that ankle joint while you do this. Let's switch sides here. Again, the towel is going to go right around kind of the ball of your foot and toes. Get yourself into a nice hamstring stretch. Make sure the tension isn't too loose. Again, the goal here is to send signals to your brain that your ankle joint is mobile. Because if you have a mobile and stable joint, you're going to get a good, clean movement pattern through it. Your brain will allow you to run faster or jump higher, knowing that its foundation is strong. And this exercise should just feel really nice, you guys. Hamstring stretch with some resisted point and flexes through the ankle. This is the official halfway point of our session, so great job today, guys. Great job so far. Now here's where a band is probably a little bit better if you have a band. If not, that's fine. We're just going to kind of introduce this movement pattern. You're going to put the towel around your pinky toe, and then hold it in the opposite hand. I'm getting really close to my fireplace here and I'm sweating, so I'm going to turn that off. And just so you guys can see it here, I'm holding the towel with my left hand and I'm working my right foot. I'm just pushing out to the side. So your ankles have the ability to go side to side. So we're just kind of strengthening that movement pattern. Think of it as, you know, athletes that often roll their ankles, or even if you just trip and fall, that can be really devastating in terms of an injury. So we want to build strength and resilience in the ankles in all the directions that those ankle joints can move. So we switch side. Now the towel is in my right hand and I'm working my left foot. I'm pushing my left foot into the towel, I'm really trying to make my foot do the work. I'm not trying to roll with my entire left leg, for example. I want my ankle to do most of the work here. Pushing into the towel with my pinky toe, sides to side movement. Really nice. All right, seated ankle rolls while we're in this position. So I'm just gonna bring my feet out to the sides and then back around. So again, kind of exploring that sideways movement the ankles can go. So I'm kind of trying to keep my knees and hips quiet. It should feel good to do this without resistance because you just did this same movement pattern with a towel, both the point and flex and the lateral movement, the side to side movement. So now that you're free of the towel, you should feel like you're moving even more efficiently. So just stretch those ankles out, rolling to the side, making those half circles, pulling the feet back together, giving you a nice flex there. Not as glamorous as flexing, say, the biceps, guys, but this one will serve you maybe better in the long run, so good work there. Little wipe of the face there. I know I just touched my feet, so it's kind of gross, but just that towel to the side. If you're starting to bring up a sweat like me, that's not a bad thing. All right, forward bend stretch, just walk into downward dog, which just is kind of a back of the leg stretch. Once you feel a good stretch in the back of your legs, begin to pedal your feet. So we're just going to roll onto the toes, pressing the alternating heel down, stretching out the calves, stretching out the hamstrings. So just the back of the legs get a good stretch, while the lats get a little bit of a work there. So your arms might feel this stretch. I love a good inverted pose. Always good to get some blood flow going back up. Just a nice stress relieving exercise here. So enjoy this one. Try to relax into it. And that'll lead us into our next exercise. Single leg down dog, so extend one leg straight back and really work on, you can adjust, you know, little bits here if you can find a better stretch. I'm really focused on my grounding leg, that foot being flat, my heel being flat, that leg being straight, and I'm trying to make the leg that's back as straight as possible too. This is pretty tiring. It's good for your core, it's good for your arms, and it's good for your legs. It's a hard one, so don't worry if you're struggling a bit. Bring it back to down dog, take a deep breath. And then let's try the other side. It is, again, I found this challenging. I find this exercise hard. It's good for a lot of reasons, though. It's good for mobility. It's good for flexibility, good for mobility, good for your core and your shoulders. So we've got a lot of good things happening here. I'm holding for about 5 deep breaths. So if you're panting, you might need to do 10. But if you have a good breath control, it's about 5 deep breaths. So deep stretch there in down dog, stretching out the shoulders and hamstrings one more time. Finding that stretch that works for you, adjust your feet and hands so you can find a good stretch. Now walk those toes towards your hands, bending the knees as needed to stand up. Well done. All right, one of my favorites is a standing hip rotation. So you're going to pretend you're standing next to a hurdle. And your goal is to bring your foot forwards and backwards over that imaginary hurdle. You want your foot to go, again, straight in front of you to almost directly behind you. Straight in front, directly behind you. Opening up at the hip, turning your foot. Alright, now try it with your eyes closed if you're brave. So I did 5 touches with my eyes open. Now I'm going to try 5 with my eyes closed. By closing our eyes, we force other things to work harder. Maybe our sense of hearing, our core is going to engage a little bit more because our eyes aren't going to help us pick up the balance pieces. So good for what we call proprioception, or awareness of our body in space, by closing the eyes. So hopefully that one helps you react a little bit quicker. Maybe you're in the dark, putting clothes on or something weird like that, running in the dark. Anything that will help you be an advantage if you don't have eyesight immediately accessible. So eyes open, we're on the other side. Now we're going to do a couple with our eyes open just to introduce that pattern. And now we're going to close our eyes. Again, place the foot directly in front and then as closely as you can directly behind you. So we're like 180 degrees, we're rotating through the hip, getting a nice stretch here in the hip joint, crossing planes of movement, which is important. Again, we're looking for progress, not perfect. Every time you do this workout, maybe you get a little better when you do the eyes closed variation. If you're not comfortable with the eyes closed, keep them open, no problem. All right, time for lateral touch. We're gonna go right into eyes closed here. Tap laterally in front of you, so as wide as you can, and then across the body, crossing that center line, working the hip laterally in the lateral plane of movement, or side to side. Good one for injury prevention. Aiming to do about 10 taps with the toe, side to side. Excellent. Switch sides, boom, lateral touches, close the eyes, 10 touches. Side to side. It's okay if you lose your balance a little bit, sometimes slowing it down, breathing, thinking about your diaphragm. Those are all helpful things that you can do during this time. Slow and steady wins the race on balance. Excellent. Thanks for giving those a try. I know that they're a little intimidating, but every time you do them, it should get a little bit better. All right, we're gonna do a hip controlled articular rotation next. So basically all you're doing, I've done a shoulder variation of this one, is kind of like an active straight leg raise. Let that leg fall to the side, swing it back to the start. What you want to do is kind of just explore every angle of the hip joint. So you're going to raise that, the hip joint allows you to go up and down, it allows you to rotate, and it allows you to go side to side. It's a ball and socket joint, so there's a lot of movement through the hip. Working a controlled articular rotation is going to help your brain know you have control of that joint. It's going to help the mobility of that joint and just the integrity of that joint. So again, let's switch sides. If you've never done them before, it really is just kind of, there's no way to mess it up really unless you're going too fast or being too flippant. I do like to turn my foot to get that little bit of rotation in. So at the top, I'll kind of turn my foot out to the side, pull it back down, rotate it around. The idea here is that you're just getting, you know, bending and straightening at the hip, flexion, extension, rotating, and side to side work. So just as long as you're moving that hip in all directions it can go, and showing that you have control of the pace and the movement, that's what our goal is on this hip car. It should feel good. There might be points where it feels like, oh, I'm a little weak there, a little tight there. That's okay. Let's flip over onto our back now. We're going to do a single leg bridge hold. So you're just going to lift one hip off the floor. If you want to do some ankle circles or point and flexes there to distract your brain, you're welcome to. I'll demonstrate that now. You don't have to. You can also just hold. My right leg's at 90 degrees. My hips are off the ground. This one's great for your hamstrings, glutes, and core. Anytime you're on one leg or using one arm, that's a great way to work on balance. Even in a position like this, it's going to help send those signals to our brain that we have stability. So that's always a good thing. Let's switch sides here and press off the floor. Again, if you want to do that variety where you're pointing and flexing or doing some ankle circles to get some extra ankle mobility in, sometimes it's a nice distraction for the brain. But don't forget to keep those hips off the floor. We do want to get the hamstrings and glutes a good workout, give the core a good workout, and work our balance by really driving those hips off the floor. Almost there. We're doing 30 seconds per side here. And we've got less than 5 minutes to go, guys, so you're doing awesome. All right, single leg reaches. As promised, we're going to do this movement that we did at the beginning. Now that you've done it once, you've got your ankles activated, your knee stability work and hip stability and mobility exercises mostly done. So see if you're now a little bit more aware of your body. Some of those little supporting muscles in your feet might be getting tired, so you might feel like you did better when you were fresh. You might feel like you're doing better now that you're aware and in tune with your body. Either way, it's good to get a second set of these in. If you are somebody that notices an indifference on your right and left side, you might want to do an extra 2 to 5 repetitions body weight of this movement pattern. So, you know, in the time that's left over at the end, if you notice that, say, your right was a little bit stronger than your left, you might want to do 2 to 5 extra reps there of, like, say, a single leg reach or some hip rotations. I've switched sides now, so I'm on my other leg. If you are somebody that, again, I'll say that again in case you're kind of are somebody that has questions about that, it is fine to do, you know, a few extra reps of body weight mobility and stability exercises on your weaker leg. So you could do some Stork balance on one side, you could do tree pose again for maybe 10 seconds extra, or a movement like this you can supplement with a few extra reps on the side that you have less balance on. So I'll leave that for you guys to give it a try. One of my favorites for ankle, knee, and hip stability, this single leg squat hold. So you're just going to lower down on one leg with your arms crossed. I'll show you that from the side too, so you can just see kind of where my knee is in relationship to my toes and hips. It's not a super deep squat, but really what we want to do is build ankle, knee, and hip stability. So notice that there's not a ton of movement through my knee, ankle, or hip. I'm pretty stable there. And that should be your focus as well. Not necessarily depth, but cinching your core together and building integrity and stability in your ankles, knees, and hips. Kind of trying to keep a good line there from your ankle through your hip. Good one to strengthen quads and glutes as well though. Squeezing that core, breathing through this trunk squat. Looking good. Well done. And as promised, we're going to do Stork balance. Take 2. See if you guys are stronger. Maybe not. Maybe you're more tired now. I think that's going to happen to me. We'll see how far I make it. I only made it 8 seconds, and in round 1, my best time scores were 10 on the right and 11 on the left. So here's my other foot. Let's see what I can do here. Oop, not very good at all. I must be a little bit tired. I think I only made it 5 seconds, maybe less. Again, this is just a great baseline test. I have all new athletes and clients do Stork balance. I think I made it 5 again on that side. You want to take your best times, and you only want to do it twice per side. So you always get 2 trials. Woo, not so great. I think that was 7 seconds. All right. Yep, 7 seconds. All right, let's do a dynamic forward bend. So reach to the toes, reach towards the sky. Inhale, exhale. Kind of just a good energizing way to finish our workout. We're almost to the end here, guys. It's been a great session. I really appreciate you guys diving into this focus on muscular imbalances or balance, you know, trying to improve your muscular balance. Recharge those legs with some good dynamic breathing. All right, and then we'll finish with a single leg quad stretch. This one's great for balance just because you have to stand on one leg and grab your ankle. If this is a tough position for you, you can opt for a different stretch like a calf stretch or a hamstring stretch. Just a forward bend is fine. Let's switch legs there. And again, after this, if you did notice one side was weaker than another, throw in a 2 to 5 extra reps of your favorite balance exercise only on your weak side. That's fine. Try to give that weak side a little extra attention, whether that's a few reps of a balance, mobility, or stability drill. You did a great job today, guys. I really appreciate you. I wanted to bring my little guys out to say hello. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate your support and wish you a great rest of your day. Thanks for joining us. Be sure to hit subscribe below to stay up to date on all my new workouts. I try to post 1 to 2 per week. So if you subscribe for free, you'll get notifications about a new workout. And be sure to visit my website, www.kawoka-coaching.com for recipes, wellness blogs, and more.